Now, people always ask me, well, what are the incentives? We're going to go into them. But I want to also mention this great resource that's available, and that's the Desire website, especially if you're in a different city. And you are, what about, I'm from Kentucky, what are my incentives? I might have some sense, but you can click on Desire. Now, but here is the basic things that we have available from different places here in Tennessee. Got the Tennessee Clean Energy Technology Grant. This is for businesses only, but it's 40% of installed cost, $75,000 max, maximum 3 locations per company. This is the main Tennessee grant that's available today. You have a 30% federal tax credit. This is great because it's now long-term. It used to be, it was around for a couple of years, 1 year that. It got extended last October. And like if you notice with Hemlock and Vacker, when did they both announce their manufacturing? With the long-term extension of the tax credit. This was extended for 8 years. And manufacturers are, okay, there is going to be support for our industry, and a lot of manufacturing went in to really scale up the technology, which was going to help drive it down. So the long-term tax credit was incredibly important for the industry. USDA, somebody mentioned sausage factory. What's the sausage? Thank you. They just got a USDA grant, and I was at the ribbon cutting. It was a great event. It's basically for rural families, known as REAP grant, the Rural Energy America something. I have a slide on it later. But it's 25% cost. You have advanced depreciation. Then you have TVA Generation Partners program. So a pretty good combination. The only problem is you see several of these business, you have to pay taxes, and business. So businesses have a really sweet spot here in Tennessee. Residential's not so much. If you're a nonprofit, if you're a school or a church, well, you pretty much just got TVA's incentive. So it isn't. Now, I do want to say people complain about that, and I can understand that. 2 years ago, we had nothing. It's like, yeah, okay, we're not California yet, but man, we've come a long way. So to some extent, I'm happy. I used to, this used to be a really short slide here a couple of years ago. So, TVA Generation Partners has been around for a little bit longer, but it's been improved, and everything is much better than it has been. I mentioned the 30% federal tax credit. Larger systems, you can actually get that as a grant now as part of the Stimulus Act. But it's basically 30% off your federal taxes. What does that mean for homeowners? It means their income tax. It is a tax credit, not a deduction, which is better. I am not an accountant, and I try not to give tax advice, but it's pretty easy to take. It is 30% of systems costs. It is both for solar PV and solar hot water. And most solar installers, if you've done with the company, they have lots of flyers and advice on how to take the tax credit. It's pretty straightforward, both for businesses. As long as you pay taxes, it works pretty good. The TVA Generation Partners program, I said one of the good things about this is TVA did design an incentive that anybody can take, as long as you're connected to the grid. And you want to sell your power, anybody can take advantage of that, which is one of the good incentives. It's $1,000. Everybody gets to get a $1,000 check. Thanks for joining our program. Here's $1,000, which everybody likes to check. And then they buy it. It's 12 cents over retail price. So that's a new change, and it's a good change. It used to be 15 cents, but it wasn't over the price. So now let's see. The concern was by a lot of people, okay, right now that's 15 cents is good, but what about, I see my electric prices going up and up and up, and therefore the incentive is going down, 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 and down. The 12 cents is now on top of the retail price or on top of the commercial price. So as your retail price goes up, the incentive is always on top of it. So that is a much better designed program. You always are going to get that 12 cents on top of retail. So for most people, that means for everything that you generate right now, you're going to get like 21 cents a kilowatt. You're paying let's say 9 cents to KUB, but for everything you generate, you're going to get like 21 cents. Great incentive. It doesn't help you other than the $1,000 check with the upfront cost, but really helps with payback. So, and because it's available to anybody connected to the grid, it is a very good resource. It is also available to other technologies, but at a lesser. Solar gets 12 cents over retail. The others get 3 cents over retail. Solar for utilities is more attractive. In August, in the middle of the day, TVA is desperate for energy. They're literally cranking up generators, trying to meet. They're buying off system for really high numbers. It gets kind of crazy because if they can't meet the need, the entire system blacks out. Solar generates during those hot August days. The sun is out usually when it's that hot and they're that desperate. So utilities appreciate solar because it produces during peak demand. That's what's known as peak demand. So they're willing to pay more for solar because it helps them when they need the help the most. The state grant, I said for businesses, is known as TENSET, the Tennessee Clean Energy Technology Grant. Oops, I have Clinton Berry on here. Clinton Berry no longer, he retired. Excuse me. I need to fix that. Contact me and I'll send you to the right person. But it's 40% up to $75,000. That's like a California incentive. I mean, that's a great incentive. It is somewhat limited. They're not using your tax dollars, they're using ExxonMobil oil overcharge money. A judge said, you're bad, you've got to find, but you're going to have to put it into solutions for your problem, which is great. So the state is using it for the TENSET grant. How long that will be available is unknown. It will be available this year. They just started a new grant cycle. And for business, the business case is really strong, as you'll see. You're crazy not to do it. Any questions on the TENSET grant? I don't know if there's any business owners in here that have any. Cool. I mentioned the USDA grant, known as REAP, the Rural Energy for America program, which replaced the old Section 906 grant. Great grant, 25%. Yes, you can do the tax credit, you can do TENSET, and the REAP grant and Generation Partners. So that's, you almost get free solar. Farmers can get free solar for all practical purposes. You know, it's a great grant. We just got, this is a nationally competitive grant, but we are starting to get them here in East Tennessee for the first time for solar energy. And there was an event this week where several farmers got this grant money. It goes in cycles, and it's a difficult application. The state TENSET grant is pretty easy to fill out. I'll have to admit, can anybody believe the federal government made a really complex grant process? There's a lot of paperwork involved in here. It's a pain. But if you're looking at a large system and, you know, it's worth taking the time to fill out the grant. You can contact, in fact, I have the guy, Will Dodson. His phone number right down there. Will, great. He'll line you up with a local guy to help you apply for this grant. The local guys have been really good. They want to bring in the federal money. They've been really helpful for helping you get through this process. If you want to simply know, do I qualify? It's a really simple question that they can answer for you to find out right off the bat whether you want to look at this. So Will Dodson, his contact information is there. This slide has been a part of my presentation for some time. So if you go to the cityofknoxville.org/policy/solar, I have this on my last slide. You can download versions of this presentation with all this information available on it. This presentation, sometime between 2 weeks and 2 months, will also be available on the City of Knoxville website. It just kind of depends. The other talk about is depreciation, advanced depreciation. If you have an older building that's already written, you've already written off all your depreciation assets, you can put solar on there and get advanced depreciation. It can actually equal up to like 20% of your system, maybe even more. It depends on, but this is something, this is for, again, kind of for a business. Basically, this is something to work out with your accountant. It is a little bit complex, but is a great federal incentive. So really, between the 30% tax credit and the advanced depreciation, it can mean 50% of your system cost. So again, a very good incentive.